I'm Reverend Karin Lewis. I am the senior minister here together with my partner, Leslie Goodwin, Reverend Leslie Goodwin, yes. Yes, and we are loving it. So I also wanted to say welcome to those of you who are here for the first time. Welcome to our stream audience, and welcome to those of you who are here for the second or third or fourth time, because that means you heard something here, something that we are doing, something that we are saying here resonated with you, and you decided to come back. So welcome back to all of you. Yes. Here we are in the month of May. Who could have thought a year ago, when we picked the month of May to be our month to look at healing, that we would have so much to heal in the world? Who would have thought that? You know? And not just out in the world, but also when Reverend Leslie started this month off with that very emotional talk that was titled, I am sick. Does that mean I'm not spiritual? It brought up a lot of things. So we both said, we have heard more from our congregation, from individuals who are working on really challenging, deep things that are bubbling up and come up for healing. And that can get messy. Would you agree? Yeah, where are my people who are willing to do the work? It can get messy. Because what happens, I see hands going up in the back. People are like I'm doing it, it's messy. And I, for one, I am so grateful to be in a community where we speak to that, where we say, come when it is messy. Do not stay away and feel that that is not welcomed. This community, the container of love that we have built here together, is so wide and so deep that we can all do our work here. So I want you to know that. I want you exactly what Jeff said. Whoever you are, wherever you find yourself on your personal journey, you are welcome here. So today we are going to talk about one of my favorite topics, revealing wholeness. And I love that reading. Oh, yes. Yeah, there's wholeness revealed. End of talk. I really loved what Jeff said in the reading that he did today. When we are little kiddos, if you ever watch a little one, right, they know. They know who they are. They don't care if the hair is in the face or not, what they're wearing, preferably nothing, you know. And they're happy. They're happy. And I loved what Jeff talked about there in the reading. How do we get back to that? How can we fill our mind with right thoughts, with the aligned thoughts that there is spirit, that there's one source that is good? You know, like Ernest Holmes says, there's a power for good in the universe greater than you are, and you can use it. Oh, those moments where I yearn to get back to that. Because sometimes, I don't know about you, but sometimes I have moments where I actually forget that, where I actually get so mesmerized by the mess that is in the outer world that I think, where's the good? Where is it? Many years ago, one of my teachers and mentors pointed me to our textbook. Now, I have to admit, this is not an easy book for me to read. Yeah, again, head shakes, yes. It's challenging. It's written in a language that is not only my second language, but also it's the way people used to speak, I guess. So my mentor had made this suggestion. In the back, about this far back, there's this area, meditation for self-help. And she said, how about you take one of those and rewrite them into your own words? And I thought that was a great idea, so I did that. And what would it be like if we would take the time every morning, or perhaps before we go to sleep, to read these words of affirmation? What would it be like? Would that be a way, perhaps, to reveal wholeness? Well, let's give it a try. Let's do it right now. If you're comfortable, allow your eyes to close. And just listen to these words of truth. God restores me to wholeness. The divine spirit within me is perfect, it is whole, and it is complete. It is the spirit of infinite peace, and it is within me. I recognize that spirit of the divine as the power that is moving through my life. It, being the divine, has no want and no fear. It, being the divine, has no limitation and no doubt. It, being everywhere present and all-knowing, is right here where I am. So I say to myself, with this mind, there's that within me that guides me into harmony and love, and I let that divine spirit within me, using whatever method it may, restore me to perfect wholeness and perfect happiness, and to bring into my experience that which is good and true. Come back into this room. Those were the words that really helped me come back into this idea that spirit, using whatever method it may, can restore me to wholeness. That could be a pill, a procedure, a good cry, talking with someone I trust, hugging a tree, going away and sitting in silence, whatever. But it's this phrase, using whatever method it may, is how spirit, how life with a capital L, restores us to wholeness. And you know what I think about when I hear that? I think about that story. You have heard it. Many of you have heard it. And it is a good story because it points to that spirit uses every means it wants to. It is the story of the man who finds himself in flood waters. And the flood has risen so fast, he can't get out. So he climbs up on the roof and he prays. And a rowboat comes by. And they say, "Come in, we have a place for you. We row you to safety." And he says, "I have prayed for deliverance, I'm good." And the rowboat leaves. A couple hours later, the water is rising, and a motorboat comes by. "Jump in, we take you to safety. I got this, I have prayed for deliverance." Finally, the water is up to his waist, and a helicopter comes. "This is your last chance, grab the rope. We'll take you out of here." "Not to worry, I prayed for deliverance, I got this." Helicopter leaves, the man drowns. He comes up to the heaven about, and he said, "What was that all about?" And he says to God, "I prayed for deliverance." And God said, I send you a rowboat, a motorboat, and a helicopter. What more do you need? And sometimes I feel like standing like this and say to someone, you could do this or this or this or this. What more do you need? And we all know we have to be ready. We have to be ready. We have to recognize when that boat, when that rowboat or the motorboat shows up. We have to be ready to let go of our ideas of how it's supposed to look and open up to the possibility that whatever is showing up in our life might be the answer. So I invite you to take a moment and think about what is your personal flood waters that is rising right now. It might be a relationship that is coming to an end, or it might be a financial situation that you would really like to have a different experience in. Or it might be a diagnosis. Something is rising up within us that is asking for healing. And so for the rest of this talk, I invite you to just hold on to that. Walk it out with me as we look at a couple different options. The first one, I really believe it is so important to be open. Be open to the solution be something very different. That's why often when we work with individuals and they, in the classes, they want to outline, I would like to have a 6'2", dark-haired, slender millionaire fall in love with me. We do hear that every once in a while. And when you work with a practitioner, what's going to happen, we're going to say, yes, I hear you, and talk to me about what is the quality that you want to experience when this individual enters your life. And that is when we're going underneath the outer appearance, right? That's when we hear qualities like partnership, safety, respect, maybe trust. It's different for everyone. So we have to be open to whatever the divine wants to deliver to us for our healing. There's a quote from our book of the month, Healing Words. It says, health and healing are about more than the eradication of disease. Health is related to wholeness and wholly knowing who we are and how we are connected with the world around us. Now, that is one of the principles of this teaching of the science of mind that Dr. Ernest Holmes has put together, that we are all connected because we are all one in the divine. And there are times where that is easy to see, is it not? There are times where we are like, yes, we can feel it. When we're in community, when we are with our beloveds, when we're celebrating, when we're doing things together, we can feel the oneness. And then there are times where the mess is so mesmerizing out there that we forget that. And that the healing at those times is harder to come by. Because it really asks us to let go of our idea and to accept the rowboat as a way to safety. Essential to be open is to slow down. To slow down. To take time. Recognizing what is happening for me. What is happening for those around me. And then the next step that we are called to is to be curious. Now, I love this. I love being curious, figuring out, how does this work? How could this be different? How could I have a different experience? Do you know that we have over 50 people that showed up on Tuesday night for the book study of Brené Brown's book, Dare to Lead? Yeah. And when I looked around in that room, what I saw was curiosity. Curiosity. Brené Brown is a researcher that is very, very popular right now, and there were people showing up, many from our congregation, but also folks who haven't even been into the sanctuary, but they are curious. Let me see if there's something that I can use in my life to bring forth a more richer, happier, healthier experience. Love that. Absolutely love that. Curiosity. And I love this quote. This made me chuckle. Millions saw the apple fall, but Newton asked, why? Right? How great is that? I want to bring like a big poster, but you have good imagination. Imagine this huge poster that shows us a city, like cut through, and you see up on top the penthouses and the fun houses and the beautiful places, and then you go further down and you see maybe the street level, and there's some wonderful stuff happening. You can see a mom being very kind with her children and playing and all those things. And then also you can see some mugging going on over there, like a real representation of what happens in a big city. And then it goes even further down and you see like the under parts of a city. And I often wonder, is it that we have like this small window that we look at and we choose, are we putting our attention up here, or are we curious of what's happening here? And it is where we place our attention, where we are curious to see what is happening, that we invite into our life. Because that is how the law of attraction works, right? That what we focus on expands. So this curiosity that we have, we can use it. We can use it to find out what worked for this person. How did they heal out of this situation? And is there something in that for me? And that brings us to the third point of how to bring truth and love and spirit into our life for healing to take place. And that is to surrender. That is to surrender. Now, I read the definition of surrender, and there's just nothing that looks enticing about it. I tried. I looked in German, in English, couldn't find anything. And it's not one of those things we say, ooh, let's surrender. However, there are times where we are at the limit of what our small mind can bring forth. And we are called to place it at the altar of love, to have it altered into a healing. It is those times where we say, God, I don't know what to do with this. I surrender. It is challenging work, and it is so important that we prepare ourselves in the times where there's not such a big thing asking us to work through, that we establish habits, that we establish a spiritual practice, that when the moment comes where we realize, I can't do this alone, that we have gained so much trust in the divine that we can surrender. And this community is a fabulous place to establish the trust, to step in and feel how safe one can be here by establishing those relationships that serve as a safety net. That is our work. This is the place where lives are transformed. And so my invitation for this week for all of us is to be on the lookout. And you know for what? A rowboat, a motorboat, or a helicopter. And take those situations, signs, and let's see if we can't heal the world while we heal ourselves. And so I invite you now to close your eyes and go with me into prayer, where we place our focus, our attention on Sweet Spirit, on Source, on the loving kindness and the eternal givingness of life itself. As we place ourselves into this place where we know that there is one power, that it is greater than we are and that we can use it. We are invited to use it. And so we become very clear that we are not alone, that we are of it, that we have our being in this Spirit, and Spirit has its being in us. We are the arms and the hands and the eyes of the divine. And so it is here in this place where we say to ourselves, there's a power within me that restores me to wholeness. There's an eternal love that heals everything. The kindness of the divine, the ever-giving graciousness of the divine heals all those wounds. I may not know how, but I can place myself into the place of surrender. And we add a word for any place in the world that is hurting, for any place in the world where people are yearning to feel that assurance, we send our love, our light, our knowingness there, knowing that this power surely heals and comforts. And so it is with an overflowing heart and so much gratitude for all the good that we experience every day, every moment, right now, that I place this word into universal law. I let it be, I let it go. And so it is.